Welcome to the podcast, Raising Unstoppable Teens. I'm your host, Dr. Kimberly Shear, teen breakthrough expert and founder of Academy for Independence. I am so excited about my guest today. Anthony Arya is here, so please let's welcome Anthony to the show.
Hello. Thank you for having me, Kimberly. I'm excited.
Yeah, thank you. I've been waiting for this. So again, I'm just super excited. So what I would like to do is read Anthony's bio, and then we'll dive into the questions. Anthony Arya was born in San Francisco, California, and grew up as a dual resident of both San Francisco and Santa Cruz. Anthony is a songwriter, guitarist, and vocalist, and has been performing since elementary school. In 2018, Anthony was on season 15 of NBC's The Voice. Shortly after, he released his debut album, Going to California, and has since performed hundreds of shows around the Bay Area. In June 2020, Anthony received the Presidential Scholar in the Arts awarded by the U.S. Department of Education. In May 2020, Anthony released his second album, The Road, and currently Anthony is attending Stanford University. You can find out more about Anthony and all his accomplishments and music and so forth at his website, Anthony Arya, spelled ARYA.com. So again, Anthony, welcome. And I'll just dive into the questions.
Yeah.
So tell me about your life, and you're a dual resident of both San Francisco and Santa Cruz, so you're definitely a California boy.
That's
Tell
right.
us a little bit more about growing up.
Yeah, I'm like you said, I'm a Bay Area kid. I was born in San Francisco and went to school and was raised in Santa Cruz. My mom's a software consultant, so she was able to work in both places. So growing up, I would go back and forth on weekends and holidays up to San Francisco, and I think that really influenced me today and in my music, especially because I got a taste of both places. Santa Cruz is a close-knit community. It's a beach town, but San Francisco is this big mecca of culture. It's a big city that has so many stories and experiences. So I loved being able to get a taste of both places for sure.
It's nice, a nice balance between the close community and then the energy and all the culture San Francisco has to offer as well. So that's cool. Give me an overview of your musical career. You've been involved in so many different musical experiences, and how did that all kind of come about and evolve for you?
Yeah. I started actually playing drums and singing in an after school third grade rock band. So that kind of is what started it all. And shortly after, I started picking up the guitar, and that's when I really found my passion for that instrument. And then when I got into middle school, I joined the choirs, and that was really when my singing took off. My school had a really robust choir program, so that was amazing to be able to be a part of. Around the same time, I joined the jazz band at my school and did the musical theater productions. So I was kind of doing everything with music. About 4 years ago, I started writing original music. And I joined an organization called West Coast Songwriters. They were really, really, they influenced me because I was able to play at the songwriting competitions they had. They had conferences. So having that community of songwriters really influenced me. I started playing in my music anywhere I could, from busking to open mics to showcases, anywhere, anytime I could play my own music, I was. So then came The Voice, and when I came back from the Voice, I put out 2 albums since then, and I've been playing around the Bay. Right now I'm playing almost it seems like 3 shows a week now. So
Wow. Wow. And I've seen some of your performances. Very, very, and all the venues I've been to have been just beautiful. And I can say your music is really wonderful, and you're extremely talented.
thank you.
And you have a lot of personality too. You are definitely an entertainer as well.
Oh,
So
thanks.
yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So I would just want to take a few seconds,
Yeah.
and then we'll get back to questions with Anthony, but I want to take a few seconds just to thank our sponsor for today's episode. And the sponsor is Deborah Wiener, from a founder of Elements of Change. She is an intuitive transformational healer. And Deborah creates beauty, harmony, and balance with the flow of energy within you and in your environment. She is a change maker, and she uses her intuitive skills to access, heal, and transform issues, relationships, and your environment. She clears negative energies to raise your vibrations and frequencies to resonate and attract what you truly desire. She's also a feng shui master, and feng shui embraces all areas of our lives and moves and transforms energy within and around us. Deborah is also a clairvoyant, shaman, sound healer, and the list goes on. Visit her website at www.elementsofchange.net to learn more about the healing methods that she practices. And she's also offering our listeners a free 15-minute phone call where you can get an intuitive tip that could transform your life. Just call her at area code 925-580-0350, or you can email her at Deborah, Deborah, Wiener, Wiener 30 at gmail.com. Okay, so Anthony, back to you. So was music, I mean, you talk about playing the drums and really your music or passion for music started in 3rd grade, but so it's just, was it sooner than that? I mean, did it begin with a passion, or did you just know you had a natural talent? Or tell me a little bit more about the beginning.
Yeah, well, I mean, the funny thing is I was always a sports guy, actually. I think I fell in love with singing and basketball at the same time when I watched High School Musical when I was a kid, and I always thought it was so cool that someone could be, a musician and a sports guy at the same time in high school. So, yeah, when I watched High School Musical, that definitely inspired me to start doing both. And also, I watched shows like Glee, so. But yeah, I was really serious about baseball. I would play year round with travel ball teams and club teams. We'd travel everywhere to play, and I was pretty close with my. I was really lucky to have some amazing baseball coaches because they liked music too, and so they supported both endeavors.
Nice.
Yeah.
You are fortunate to have that. It doesn't always happen.
Right.
Yeah, that is really cool. So how has your family supported you?
Well, my mom it means everything to me. She has done so much. I mean, when I was playing baseball, I don't think she missed one game in 8 years of playing. I mean,
Wow.
from going to every lesson to every travel ball game. I mean, she didn't really know that much about baseball when I first got started playing, and she was just as interested in it as I was when I began playing a lot, and she was even got interested in the physics of baseball. So that's just an example of how supportive she is. Now I think she was happy when I kind of switched my focus to music, because she really loves music, and she's really knowledgeable about music. She's a big blues fan and slide guitar fan. So I always throw that into my repertoire of music. But yeah, she's my manager when it comes to my music, so she puts in a tirelessly amount of effort into everything, from emailing with for coordinating with shows, CD production, sales. I mean, yeah, my mom is always with me doing all my music. So yeah, it's been really amazing to have her with me as I go through my life doing different pursuits, and now with music, it's just amazing to share that with her. I mean, we grew up. Like I said, we watched The Voice together growing up, and shows that had music in them. So that was always amazing to share together. Also, my grandma, she's a scientist, but she's really supported my music, even though it might not be the style that she listens to. She's been really supportive.
That can make all the difference though, because and it's not, I want to say, for a lot of parents
Hmm.
pursuing even possibly a career or your passion in music. I mean, you were in sports, and it sounds to me like you still were very involved with your academics and stuff in school. But sometimes for us parents, we might get a little scared, because if to encourage our kids to go so fully with their passion in music. So that's really cool that your family, I mean, your grandmother and your mom and maybe other family members really supported you, believed in you, knew you had talent, and then your mom playing all these different roles. Just that's extreme support, which is amazing.
It's been
Truly.
really special, and I've it's amazing. It's when I think back on it, I come from a pretty academic family with my grandpa was a nuclear physicist, and my grandma,
Wow.
like I said, was a chemist, and my mom was a mechanical engineer. So it's really amazing to see them support my music just as much, like you were saying, and obviously still be focused on academics, but be right there when I have a show or anything involved in music. So yeah, it is special.
Wow. Okay. So, well, tell us a little bit about your experience on The Voice, and other teens, if they're interested in this type of experience. Like, how did you even think about going on The Voice? How did that evolve, or what was the seed for that? And then, yeah, how did it evolve for you?
Yeah, well, being on shows like The Voice it's like an experience like no other. Definitely. I mean, I was 15 when I started the process and was 16 when it ended up airing on television. And yeah, I mean, it's really incredible. I learned a lot from the fellow contestants and the staff on the show. There's, one thing I would tell people who are thinking about it is there's a lot of ups and downs. When it comes to being on shows like this, you have to come in with an open mind. You're never able to predict the results of these
Mhm.
shows. So you just have to do your thing and be open to whatever happens. But like I said, I grew up watching the show, so it was extra special to be able to finding myself there on that stage was really surreal.
That is amazing. And did you ever, when you say that, there's ups and downs, and there's,
Mhm.
things were you ever a bit discouraged, or how do you handle that? Or you just handle it as it comes up and you move through it, and,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah, I mean, it's what's so amazing is they get a lot of different artists that
mm,
all play their own style of music, and so it's hard to compare musicians, and so that's one of the things that I found reassuring is that you can only do what you do, you can only play your music the way you play. So and sing, obviously. So I just was focused on playing this kind of music that I was gonna sing, and that was reassuring. With you can't, like I said earlier, you can't predict what's gonna happen with these shows,
mhm.
so you can just put your best foot forward and play.
Wow. And I think that's a really good tip. woven in there about comparisons.
Right.
You be you, do the best you can do, and have integrity with your style of music and so forth. Learn. You
Mhm.
obviously were learning from the coaches, and like you said,
Yep.
even some of the other musicians, but it wasn't where you got discouraged due to comparison. And I think that's a really key point. Uh,
Yeah, and it could be with anything.
mhm,
Not just music. For any
right.
pursuit, it's hard to compare. But I definitely think with music because everyone has a different sound.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. Well, I watched The Voice, by the way, and I was rooting for you, and you are awesome, extremely talented. And so I would like to ask you to give us a sample of your music.
Yeah, well, let me grab my guitar right here, which is always close by. And yeah, I when I was down in LA for the show, I like I was saying, it was inspired by a lot of the other contestants on there, and we always would play music at the end of the day. And so when I at the time was deciding what I would make the title track for my first album, and I decided to make this song the title track because I felt that it was originally about Route 66 and the stories of people coming to California. But when I went down to LA and saw people were doing the same thing, going out to California to chase their dreams, I just knew that this was going to be the title track. So this song is called Going to California.
Nice.
Well, I'm going on a trip, gonna find out what I missed. Like what to do and where to start, I'm gonna show 'em what I forgot. And I said, hey, 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 hey. Well, maybe I'm stargazing, wondering what to do. Maybe I'm thinking that we all turn blue. I'm going to California or I'll go to Arizona, there I'll know if the grass is really greener on the dark side of the moon. And I said, hey, 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 hey. I said, hey, 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 hey.
Yay! That was amazing.
Oh, thank you.
Wow. And now our listeners know why, I go to different venues to see you play because just your music, I love your music and your
Oh, thank
voice.
you.
Wow. It's
Thank you
just,
so much.
yes. Oh my goodness. So, wow. And so that's your CD. Um, which one was it? Going to California, correct?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
the first. When I came back from the show, that was the first album that I put out, Going to California, with all original music, and that was what I decided to make the title track.
Oh gosh. I love that. So thank you so much. That was a real treat.
Oh, yeah, no, of course.
Yeah. Okay. So how did you find the confidence to perform and to even go on The Voice? I mean, you have the talent and you've got all this passion but still it can be scary. So,
Yeah, I mean, I think going back to baseball, I think that really helped because I was a pitcher, and so that's a really high stress job, on the field, and I think that really helped when I performed because although at first you might think there's not a lot of similarities. When it came to performing, I really felt that helped and at every level, from a small venue to like a stage like The Voice. Also, growing up, I would always any family and friends that I could play for them, I would. So I would busk on the streets as well in San Francisco. Yeah, I think any situation where I could perform, that prepared me for any situation when I needed to perform. So I think getting out there and just doing as many different situations, performing in as many different situations as you can is really helpful, and it helped me.
Wow. I think even that though too, I mean, I'm not a musician, but I can certainly appreciate the talent of someone like you. And but I don't know, when I think about like San Francisco and going there and just performing or performing down the streets, or I don't know, for me I still feel like I would be scared. But I guess if it's in your heart and you're so passionate about it, it's just what moves you and what you enjoy, and you'll just, as you say, break out anywhere and sing and play and enjoy
Yeah,
life.
I think it all kind of goes in levels. Like
Mhm.
you get more comfortable performing bigger and bigger venues as I got more experience. But like I said, starting off with just family and friends and just doing that all the time, and then getting the busking where you have to really be out, seek their attention because people are just walking by the streets, and
Mhm.
so you have to perform. You have to put on a performance, and that all really helped to now, when I was in 2018, being able to perform on the Voice stage and all the shows that I've done since then.
Wow. Very cool, very cool. And some of the clips and so forth of you being on The Voice is actually on your website,
Yeah.
right? So if people want to learn more, if they didn't have the opportunity to see it like I did, which I feel very pleased that I got to, but they can always go to your website at AryaArya.com.
Yeah.
And we'll bring that up again, and it will also be in the show notes. But yeah, you do have some things on The Voice if people want to learn more about your
They can head
experience.
over there. Yeah, it's all up there. The Voice videos on my website, upcoming shows. So yeah, check it out.
Awesome. Um, okay, yeah. Tell me about what inspires your songwriting, because
Mhm.
that's pretty cool too. You're not only, as we said in the bio, a guitarist and so forth, but you are, or a vocalist as well, but you write your own material.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, the short answer is everything inspires my songwriting. But I'll get a little bit deeper into that. I mean, it's um, any experiences, conversations, books, movies, videos, like anything that I find interesting or just inspires. It has imagery to it. I write down. I have a note in my phone. I just have a long list of interesting phrases that some end up with into songs, and some are still there. Also, I have voice memos on my phone where I'll record just melodies or things that pop up into my head. So yeah, it really is everything that inspires a song. And oftentimes a song is kind of a combination of experiences and things that I've taken note of.
hmm that's cool. So when things like pop up, or you're at a coffee shop and you're just talking about whatever, and something just like, wow, grabs you, you actually take a moment and write it down in your phone so
Yeah.
you have it.
Yeah, and it often kind of will stick in my brain for a little bit when I hear something interesting. I'll
Mhm.
kind of, if someone says something or if I read something, I'll think about it for a little bit, and I can usually tell, like, if I think that's a little bit a unique statement or something that I would fit into a melody nicely. I'll write it down right away, because the worst thing is when you forget one of those. I've had situations where I came up with a melody on my guitar and you just can't, you lose it forever. So I never want to have that again. So I always record everything and take notes of everything.
And again, I want to say that's also another tip for our listeners,
Yeah.
because with writing or anything like that, sometimes I know a lot of times when I'm driving, that's when my mind, for
Mm.
some reason, things come to me. And by the time I get home, if I don't like pull over or write it, or intentionally like really try to rehearse it so I don't forget it, but writing down is better, I can sometimes lose it. And Yeah, that sucks when that happens.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I know. I was, for any musicians who might think like you need to have a complete phrase, melodic phrase, or complete song before you really cement it digitally or write it down. I think that's totally not true. Any idea you should put on paper or put on your phone because, yeah, you never know if you're gonna remember it or not.
that's right. That's right. No, that's a really good suggestion. Um, this is a great question. New Stanford student.
Yeah.
So, why did you decide to go to college instead of pursuing a career in music? And was that a difficult decision? How did you arrive to that decision?
Yeah, it was a hard decision.
Mhm.
It became a little bit easier with the pandemic, which is interesting. I mean,
Yeah.
there's not you can't really tour in music right now. But ultimately it was because I thought, I believe a liberal arts education will really influence my songwriting.
Mhm.
You can see Bob Dylan back here, and he's one of my biggest songwriting inspirations. And he's always been really aware of not only the present times but the past. And so I've written many historical songs, and I want to continue to write and be informed when I write music. And so that's why I decided to go to college now. Yeah.
Wow. That just blows my mind, to be honest. I'm just filled with so much joy because the fact that, you're a Stanford student and you're pursuing that and that you're so incredibly talented. I
Oh,
mean, it's
thank
amazing. Does is there like a lineage of super talented musicians? I mean, or maybe they have a little bit of talent. You obviously really, you know, are at the peak of talent, I think, with your music and singing. But does your mom, I mean, other than enjoying music and stuff, do you come from, I mean, you talk about the definitely highly educated and scholarly, grandfather and grandma and even your mom. But did they have talent in music or?
Yeah, well, my mom, she grew up playing piano, and so she even got to a level where she was playing sonatas. So that's definitely, I'd say, a high level of classical piano. But and she still plays a boogie from time to time here. But yeah, I'm not totally sure how my musical abilities came about. I think maybe that certainly helped, but also more than that is just being around music a lot growing up because my
Mhm.
mom was so she loved music and blues specifically so much, and also having her friends that were a lot of them were musicians themselves, and hearing that growing up I think really inspired me to get going with music because
Mhm.
it's hard to think about. There can be some natural abilities that
Mhm.
or just likening to music that can happen, but a lot of it is practice because with guitar certainly it doesn't come easy. You have to just play every day for hours and hours. So I think my interest really sparked me just continuing to push forward.
Mhm. Yeah, it definitely is hard work, and I don't want to undermine that at all. But you've got some, you're pretty gifted. I just want to say that, it's I don't know, not everybody, like I love music. I remember being a kid and I was actually known, I would carry this, handheld radio everywhere.
Oh, that's
And
cool.
and then I'd forget it somewhere, when I was out playing and everybody knew it was mine. Like I was known for the kid that always had the radio. And I prefer music over TV anytime.
Yeah.
And I would love to play the drums, but I have absolutely no rhythm. And really, honestly, I don't have talent and I can't sing. And I know there's more to it. And I'm sure I could learn, probably not the drums, but I could learn the guitar maybe, but that doesn't mean I would play it to any kind of standard. So I do think you have a hefty dose of talent as well. But I'm glad you mentioned it is hard work. It's not like you're, just pick it up and it's an easy ride for you because you do have to work at it. you know. And
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And I also agree that it's a combination of
mhm,
maybe some stuff that you're just innately, have this ability to do, but also, enforcing that with a lot of practice.
mhm. And I think again, it's awesome that no matter what was your passion, no matter at what age, your mother, was so supportive. And I think that, you say that's special, and it really is. And a lot of us are supportive, but sometimes we still can try to steer our kids in a way we think they should go, as opposed to just allowing them to be themselves and discover for themselves what they're passionate about, and supporting them and believing in them. And I think that really, that also is in the mix too, right?
Oh
So
yeah, I am so lucky. I don't know what I would do without my mom.
aw.
At the shows, at every show, I always see her out there, snapping to the music, and so it's really special, and I love her so much. I mean, I like I said, if I was a baseball player, still, she would
Mhm.
still be at every game. So it didn't really matter what activity I was doing, but
Yeah,
certainly she loves music, so it's good to see her have a good time at all the shows that I do.
she does. And she's neat too, because she's so down to earth. And at the venues where I've seen her, I mean, she comes and she talks to you, and, I mean, she's not afraid of that. And she's just really enjoying it as much as, everybody in the audience is. And it just makes it for a really nice experience, because it's just a really beautiful energy. And she's just down to earth and real. I mean, I really appreciate that. I mean, it's obvious, I guess. It's not like I know your mom well or anything, but just seeing her and the way she's just seems so open and makes
No,
everything
yeah.
easy. Yeah. And then with your
It's
music, it's like an awesome event,
Oh,
when both of
oh,
you.
no, you're so right about my mom too, and yeah, it's I'm really fortunate because music is such a I found it brings people together. Like you're talking about the community when you go to shows and any musical event, you feel a sense of community, and it's really amazing to see people come together, especially now when the music that we can do. It's really important because it brings people together.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
does. And I know I have missed so many concerts and stuff. Are you doing some virtual things, or things starting to open up more where, physically we can see you in concert, or how
Yeah.
is that with COVID right now for
Yeah,
you?
well, there's certainly been a lot of live stream performances, but as a performer, you'll always love being there on the stage with people
Mhm.
in the audience, and so it's been nice to some capacity be doing outdoor shows on the
Mhm.
weekends. Like we're saying, Stanford during the week takes up a considerable amount of time, but that has been a kind of a silver lining of doing online school. Is
Mhm.
being on Saturdays and Sundays being able to perform and do gigs still, doing outside shows in a few venues who have enough space and can do it safely. I've been playing some, I have something coming up at various venues around the Bay. So that has been nice, but certainly a lot of live stream performances, which is not the ideal place for music to really be made, and
Mhm.
shown. But it's just nice to have it in some capacity.
Right, right. And I'm thinking for some of our listeners that, might be in a different state or whatever, they can still hear your music and be a part of a concert and an event virtually. So that is nice to have.
That has been a really cool thing about live streams. I've been
Mhm.
doing Facebook Lives, and you see people from Portugal and from Ireland tuning in, which obviously would not usually be hearing the music at a live event. So
Mhm.
it is really cool to see that sense of bringing people together from all over.
Yeah, yeah, cool. So what do you see for your future?
Yeah. Well, I obviously I'm at Stanford right now, but along with liberal arts, I'm taking a lot of technology classes, and so what I found is music and technology are at a really interesting crossroads right now, where there's a lot of innovation with music and technology and how far we can take it, and so I'm excited to continue to pursue that and see how I could be involved in that, later in life. But obviously, I'm going to be continuing to play music. I want to be touring after I graduate, so everybody look out for me down the road. And I'll still be, of course, writing and performing music throughout my 4 years at Stanford.
Well, I know I'm speaking for a lot of people. We are very grateful that you're going to continue with your music endeavors and songwriting and singing and so forth. So I'm grateful for that. But yeah, it's gonna be interesting to um, see. I mean, what do I want to say? Um, See how you progressed and the changes and so forth. Just basically really following you. It's
Oh
going to
yeah.
be interesting. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
very cool.
music, you never know what's gonna happen with it. And I think that's part of the beauty of it is you never know what songs people will like, what experiences you'll have. But I know it's gonna be a part of me, and I want to be playing music for people and playing my original music, forever. So yeah, we'll see. For people who want to stay in touch, you can head over anthonyarya.com. There's all upcoming shows, and Kimberly, like you mentioned, the voice videos and all the details about my albums going to California and the new one that I just released, The Road.
Mhm. Cool. Yes. And also on your website, you have a lot of you have so much. First of all, I want to say this website is beautiful.
Oh, thank
And you can stay on Anthony's website for a while because there's just so many interesting things. But you also have like sweatshirts and t-shirts and
you.
all kinds of like I was so blown away. It's not just one t-shirt, it's like you just have a lot of cool stuff on there.
Well, I think maybe that's the technology interest that coincides with me. Yeah, I have. It's been nice to put a lot of stuff up there for my music, and yeah, I have a number of bands here in the Bay, so all that's on my website too. It's been cool to have put everything up there, videos, and like you said, merch. It's cool to see people now. The other day I was just going around town and you see people with your shirt on. It's the coolest. It's the
Isn't
coolest
it?
experience. It really is amazing. So,
That's really cool. So again, once again, your website, and I just want to let our listeners know that his website, as well as where to follow him on Facebook and those kinds of things, will all be in the show notes in case you miss it. But again, yeah, any contact information for our listeners that you can give us.
yeah, if the website is the most, it has everything on there, anthonyorr.com. But for people who want to listen to the albums, head over to iTunes and Spotify. All the streaming services, my albums are up there. So and yeah, I just in May I just put out my second album, The Road. So for people listening, go check it out.
All right. Well, Anthony, again, thank you so much. You have been so delightful, and I so appreciate you giving us a sample of your amazing talent. That really was nice. So I want to thank you
Oh,
for that.
well, thank you for having me. This has been a lot of fun.
Cool. So, listeners, that concludes our show. And here's to unstoppable teens, unstoppable dreams.